I did a fun little experiment just this past weekend when I was out working in our garden. I wanted to test a theory. I was right. It might surprise you because, as always, my garden, nature, is my greatest teacher when it comes to lessons of abundance, when it comes to showing me the pathway, the practices that allow me to experience abundance and well-being, growth, and life and health in my life and in my bank account and for my clients as well. This past weekend's little experiment just underscored that even more. Here's what happened really quick. I was spending a lot of time weeding. And in our garden where we have gigantuan weeds, weeding is not about pulling them. It's about digging down in the spade, getting a whole bunch of roots that are all grown together, and then sifting the weeds out and the roots out, and then putting the soil back. And every spade full of soil I got down and I was, getting the weeds out of and I just kept seeing all sorts of earthworms and beetles and other types of small bugs and things like that. I know that that's a sign of really healthy soil. Dan and I have been 100% organic the 20 years we've been here. Okay. The soil was dark. It was rich. It was moist. Yeah. And I just decided to do a little experiment one day. So early morning, so nobody would notice, I grabbed my spade and I walked out of our property around the corner up the road and into the field of our neighbors to the north of our property, where he is a traditional commercial farmer. He had already tilled the soil that spring, and I'm pretty sure he had already done one round of herbicides. Despite the fact that herbicides are supposed to kill the weeds, there was still a lot of weeds in his field. So maybe that's not working so well, huh? He hadn't yet planted, so I knew I could do this, but I do know that his planting process, he plants and he usually sprays again, and then he adds fertilizer at least once during the growing season, sometimes twice. And then oftentimes if we don't get enough rain, he has to go through and he has to irrigate the field too. So that's his process, very traditional commercial industrial farming. I took my spade and I dug into his soil to see what his soil was like. It was dry. It was like salty, granular, powdery. It was kind of dull gray tan, didn't have a lot of color. And there wasn't a single earthworm or bug or anything. No sign of life in that soil. Now, just to make sure it wasn't just that area, I walked a little further into the field, did the same thing. No life in that soil. Now, I have to ask you, my friend, how can we expect to grow life from something that's not filled with life? How can we expect to grow abundance from something that's not already abundant? Our soil is rich and alive and living things are in it, and it's moist and it's all of these things. So when we get the weeds out and we plant, we don't have to water as much. We don't have to use fertilizer. Nature knows how to work with it. Nature knows how to grow a tomato plant and a zucchini plant and a basil plant when the soil that it's living in, that it's rooted in, is alive and rich and abundant. And Dan and I regularly have amazing harvests from a relatively small number of plants. But our neighbor, that soil, in my opinion, my friends, is dead. There's no life in it. And yet he wants to grow a bounteous harvest from it. And so to get the life that the plants needs, here comes the spraying of the fertilizers. Let me put stuff in the soil after the fact. After I've killed the soil, let me try and bring life back to the soil. This is kind of the traditional commercial farming model. How about we never kill what's in the soil? We do what we can to make sure the soil is alive and abundant and rich and can support life. That's the difference between organic gardening, and now I'm learning about regenerative agriculture, which is even cooler, right? But that's the difference between how most people approach abundance in their lives and in their bank accounts. It's the difference between how I used to and how I do now. Because we try and do all these things to grow abundance in our lives. Let me do this, and let me do this, and let me do this, and this is a problem, so let me try this, and let me fix this. But we never, ever really stop to look and see, what's the soil? What's the foundation we're trying to grow abundance in and from? And what I've discovered is, unbeknownst to most of us, the soil we're trying to grow abundance in is dead. It's scarcity. We don't realize it. We're trying to grow abundance from scarcity. We're trying to grow abundance on a foundation or in soil that's not abundant in and of itself. It's what I call the archetype of scarcity. And it's the model most of us have for money and for abundance. Just like my neighbor, it's the only model he's ever known for farming. I'm here to tell you there's another option. There's another model. Just like our garden is a completely different experience than his fields, the same can be true for you when it comes to your life, your well-being, your growth, your health, and your relationship with money. But you've got to have the foundation that can support you to grow abundance. It's what I call the sacred archetype of abundance. It's a whole new way of approaching abundance. It's the difference between commercial farming and organic farming. Abundance isn't meant to be such hard work. It doesn't have to be so expensive. It doesn't mean we're always having to hustle, and do. Abundance is meant to be organic, a natural response to life that allows us to grow and blossom and produce fruit in abundance and to experience abundance. But it starts with the soil, or what I call the foundation. We have a foundation of scarcity. All of our efforts to grow abundance will never really work. We have a foundation of abundance, and abundance can start to grow abundantly with so much more ease. That's the work I do. Now, if this is resonating with you and you're wondering, well, is my soil abundant? Is my soil dead, or is it life-giving? Is it scarcity, or is it abundance? I got 2 places I'd love to send you. Go to my website, just teresaromain.com, and watch the 4-minute video you'll see right at the top. It will help you start to begin to see, like, ooh, maybe I'm in my neighbor's field, and this is why all my efforts aren't really working, and I have to keep hustling. And or join me in the next session of my Foundation for Abundance class. And we're going to get in, and we're going to give you the soil, rich, life-giving, filled with life that you need to grow the abundance that you're capable of, that you're meant to experience. Got the links in the notes below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Where do you think your foundation is? And it may be a little bit of both. But that's the key, my friend. It's not all the stuff we do out here. What's the foundation? What's the soil? That makes the difference in terms of what you're able to grow in your life and the amount of ease you experience in the process.